This is Harold, and this is the Recipe Show. Today is Monday, May 3. This is the afternoon. I am joined by Rachel. Rachel, what is your problem?
So I I got fired because I didn't go back to work.
And when
I
was
mean,
that?
in the office. I s- I was reprimanded to go back to work on site no
Hmm.
around February, like
This
late
year?
February, and then we had an admin hearing. Yes, we had an admin hearing mid March, and then they
Okay,
approved.
Rachel, sorry. I will interrupt you often during this conversation.
Mhm.
Let me direct the conversation.
Yep.
All right, so you were fired. When?
April 28th is when
For
they
what
sent me.
reason?
Um, not going back to work on site.
Did you receive a termination letter?
I did.
And what was the reason cited there?
The
That
reason there is I can actually read it to you. Hold on.
the salient points.
Um, you're directed to report on site last March 1 due to low conversion rates as requested by the client. You underwent rapid testing, but you did not. Well, basically, I didn't go back on site. That's it.
On March 1.
On March 1.
On
Yes.
that day only,
Yun yung first day ng on-site ko sana.
coming back. So, how
Yeah.
many days did you miss?
Um, since March 1.
All right, since March 1 until you receive termination papers, right?
Yes, but we had an admin hearing mid-March naman, and
Uh,
I thought because I said I have health conditions, I'm high risk, I don't want to go back to working on site. If they don't want me to work from home, then they can put me on LOA. And so they did. So I thought that was the decision. They put me on LOA from since the start of the meeting of the admin hearing until the end of April. But then towards the end, April 28th, I sent a letter saying they have decided to terminate my employment.
okay. All right. Hmm. Were there any restrictions by law na pumasok that time or allowed na yung industry nyo na pumasok?
That's actually what I've been looking up on Google kasi kaya I'm doing this consultation because I don't know if there's like I heard from my friends that there's a law saying that if you don't want to go back to work on site, they can't fire you for that and they can just put you on like leave. Like I'm not getting paid anyway.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and that I'm glad I didn't go back to the office kasi my recent outbreak dun.
Yeah. Okay. All right, ganito na lang gawin natin March 1, what happened in March? Well, i-assume natin na pwede silang magpapunta sa office mo during March. Pero kapag may nakita kang provisions after this conversation na dapat bawal pa rin kayo magtrabaho sa office, definitely, dapat hindi ka pumunta. Alright?
Mhm.
So, ang framework natin sa mga dismissal is yung labor code. Ano ba yung basis ng dismissal? Meron lang tinatawag na just causes for which pwede kang ma-terminate. So that, number one, serious misconduct. Of course, hindi yon. Willful disobedience of a lawful order. Pwede doon ka pumasok. Gross and habitual neglect. Pwede sabihin nila masyado kang mag-absent, and then fraud, willful breach. Alright, ang nakikita ko dito na pwede nilang i-accuse sa'yo kahit wala sa letter nila is nag-disobey ka sa order nila na pumasok ka. And yung isa is gross and habitual neglect of duty. So punta tayo sa willful disobedience. Pag willful disobedience, I think, ang personal opinion ko dyan is dapat kung nag-disobey ka, wala kang excuse. Dapat, ang kapal naman ng mukha mo mag-disobey. Empleyado ka dito, dapat sumusunod ka sa utos ng isang senior. Pero in your case, you were genuinely concerned, right? Genuinely concerned about your health. And so
Yeah,
you
and I
did not,
even gave them some like documents of my recent like ER. Ano.
or yeah. So
So,
you had sufficient justification for not coming to work. And you could say na you technically availed of leave of absence. And if
Yes.
that is allowed by your company as a policy, then you cannot be terminated on the basis of leave of absence.
Mhm.
So you cannot be terminated on that on the basis of willful disobedience. X on the basis of gross and habitual neglect of duty. X din yan because it implies habitual and it implies gross. It must be serious. Ang kapal na talaga ng mukha mo na hindi ka na pumapasok, etc., etc. This one, it's just one instance and medyo continuing nga lang. Pero there is sufficient justification. Now, if you
Though,
came to me...
sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Though yung LOA, they put me on LOA. Like there was admin hearing, so they already know that I'm not going to work, and I already gave them my my documents, yung medical documents, and then I saw my schedule is on LOA for until the end of April. So I'm on LOA, and then recently tiningnan ko yung schedule ko, iba na yung nakalagay.
Hmm.
And actually ngayon tiningnan ko na yung yung termination letter. It says may construe a possible violation of may lang. Serious misconduct, analogous cases, gross neglect of duty.
Alright. So yun lang yun. Siyempre, gawain ng attorney nila. Basta sabi ng attorney nila, okay, maghanap ka ng one of the 7 here and then ilagay mo dyan. Kung sa tingin mo papasok siya, ipasok mo dyan. Obviously, nagpasok sila sa at least isa sa just causes under the law. Pero whether or not merong basis sa pag-terminate sa'yo is a question of law, question of fact, kung pasok ba siya sa requirements, sa jurisprudence, kung dapat ba talagang tanggalin ka. And to me, hindi ka dapat katanggal-tanggal. So if you came here to me right now and want to ask, ano ba yung remedyo mo? Is that what you are here for?
Um, yes.
Okay. So, well, the only way for you to remedy your situation is obviously you can't go back to the company and force the company to hire you back. But you go to the DOLE that is along
Mhm.
QAV Cross Banawe. You
Mhm.
file a document called SENA first. It's
Mhm.
a one-page document. You provide the information, basic information, and the SENA desk officer will invite your company for a mediation. There will
Okay.
be 1 or 2 hearings there. It will happen within, say, 1 month or 3 weeks within the date of your filing the SENA complaint. In those hearings, there will be opportunities for settlement. That means you can demand money and the company can offer money. So, how much money are you entitled? If you think that you were unlawfully terminated, you can ask, by law, you are entitled to back wages. That is the most significant money you can ask for. Back wages, and that back wages will run from the moment you separated from the company until the case becomes final. That means if the case runs for 1 year with the arbiter, then your back wages will be 12 months times your monthly wages. If it runs for 24 months, 36 months, if the case gets appealed, so the company gambles that. You gambles the amount. So you can use that amount, that the risk and rewards there as a basis to demand for money. As as a standard measure, I would demand here, if you're say, I would demand 6 months, 6 months of salary during the settlement. And I think that is reasonable on the part of the company. Instead of risking it, going to the case, the company may win, and that means the company may not be
Mhm.
able, won't pay X amount of money, but then the employee can appeal at the CA, and then if the employee won at the CA, the
Mhm.
company would pay in the end much more money than it would have saved had it settled with you during the Senate proceedings. So that is what you stand to face during the Senate proceedings. If you, am I talking too much? If you don't
It's okay.
agree at that level, the SENA officer will recommend that you file a case. It will just be one form of complaint. You fill out the details, and the case moves formally with the labor arbiter. Your company will receive notices, but throughout these proceedings, there will be there is always an opportunity to settle. Always, always. Anytime you can settle with the company as the case progresses. The most significant part of the process is when you submit your position papers. You may need to hire a lawyer there because the lawyer will argue based on law and based on the facts. And the decision of the arbiter will be based on that position paper. Whether you win or not will be determined by that position paper. Okay?
Okay. One last question. Is there a statute of limitations to this?
I think 3 years
Three
from the moment
years.
of your separation.
3 years. Okay.
That also works in your favor because if you wait for 3 years, 36 months would have run already.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Rachel. Have a good day.
Okay. Bye bye.